Hey, what's up everybody? This is Muth24, and today I'm taking a look at the Persona 4 The Animation DVD Complete Collection. This is the set that includes all 26 episodes, which also accounts for the bonus True Ending episode. And for those maybe not familiar with Persona 4 or the Persona 4 True Ending, basically what happens is there's certain events in the game that you have to perform, certain requirements that you have to reach by the time you get to the end of the game to unlock this True Ending. It basically is an extended ending with a bonus dungeon at the end of the game, and they made an extra episode for that after the series, I believe, had already finished running, or they did it as a special TV OVA event or something like that. I'll get more into that in a bit because it does play out a little bit different than I anticipated in the DVD version here. But this complete collection, like I mentioned, includes 26 episodes on a 6-disc set. To my understanding, they did another release before this one came out that was just like the individual volumes, I think 2 discs apiece, and it was different artwork. It was like the yellow background that the Persona 4 game is kind of known for, with all its menus and all that, with different characters on each volume. Whereas this one, you have Yu, as he's known as in the canon, or the protagonist of the game, with all his tarot cards around him, and his persona there in the background. I really like this sort of reddish fuchsia colored background there. It's really cool. I think it just really stands out as something different on my shelf there. Along the spine, we have the classic Persona yellow color there with Izanagi. And then on the back, we have a description of all the special features, a sort of a rundown of the show, some nice little screen cap highlights there, and then all the characters lined up. I'm not sure what's up with Kanji's face. It looks really weird to me here compared to everyone else. It's like, I don't know, pushed in a little too far. Maybe it's just the fact that he has his neck craned back. It's weird. It's always bugged me since I've been looking at this collection here. But in terms of special features, you do have an Episode 1 Director's Cut and on-air versions, Persona 4's Mr. Experiment shorts, a brief lesson on Izanagi and Izanami, Japanese promos and TV spots, Japanese commentaries, clean opening and closings, and then a bunch of other trailers from Sentai Filmworks. And pretty much all of those, I believe, are included on the last disc. This is one of those cases where I'm pretty sure they did, like, disc 1 is 3 episodes, and then disc 4 is 5 episodes or 4 episodes for some reason, and then there's another one of like 4 or 5 episodes, and then another one of 4 or 5 episodes, and the last one 3 episodes, but then it's got the bonus features. So, I don't know if they did it in Japan like this. Sometimes they do that where it's like a single disc that you buy, and then you buy the second disc as a single disc, and then instead of getting 2 at a time. That'd have been real annoying to only get 3 episodes on one and then 5 on the next one. I don't know. I don't get why they do that sometimes. But looking at the actual disc artwork, it is pretty cool. Going back to that sort of yellow and black Persona color pattern there for Persona 4. There we have Yu on the first disc. We have Yosuke on the second disc. Third disc is Chie. Fourth disc is Yukiko. Fifth disc is Rise and Kanji. And then the final disc is Naoto and Teddy. There's Naoto. So, for those not familiar with the Persona 4 game, basically the premise of both the game and the anime is that Yu Norakami, the protagonist there, comes to Inaba to live with his uncle, who is sort of the local detective, and his cousin Nanako. And they, Yu and his classmates sort of get tied up in this investigation of this series of murders. And there's this whole angle with the Midnight Channel and sort of rumors surrounding that. Is it like people who appear on the TV might be the next victim, and all these like weird rumors going around. Ends up being that sort of through this little series of events, Yu and his classmates end up traveling into the TV world, find out that they can summon these personas, and start fighting against the shadows therein, and trying to find clues to figure out what the heck's going on with all these disappearances in town, and all these attempted murders, and what connection they share with the TV world. So it's definitely a more modern sort of take for the JRPG formula, and it's a tall order to fill simply because of how long the game is. I think my first playthrough I lasted like 55, 60 hours, something like that, before I finished the game. And that was, decent time exploring and doing side quests and stuff like that, but not to the extent where I was really grinding to do everything. I know other people have gone closer to 80, even 100 hours for their playthroughs, and so for me, it's a really interesting and different JRPG, and I really enjoyed it. But that's a lot to cram into 26 episodes. So the anime does tend to stick to the main plot points of the game, all the stuff that is unavoidable regardless of how you play it, because there's a lot of variation in how you can play it, what characters you choose to, boost your social links with, which characters you use in a party, obviously, which side quests you would attempt to go after, and which persona fusions you make and all that. But the anime, tends to stick to the meat and the potatoes of the game. But there is some variation here and there where, like, when Yu's using all of his different personas, they highlight a bunch of them real quick at different points in the battles and all that. So it's a little bit of a nod to, hey, if you use this one, here it is animated, and hey, if you use that one, here it is on the screen. There are certain episodes that they do like two-parters for, most of those being the dungeons and like the shadow versions of the party members, because those warrant, I think, the most time on screen anyways. You have to go into sort of the character's backstory, find out who they are, and sort of flesh them out more for the anime because you have less time to work with. So I think that's all fine. And they do cover a bunch of the side quests in like 1 or 2 episodes, kind of cram a bunch of them in there, as like what Yu was doing over summer vacation. So it's kind of fun to see them take the time and incorporate that as well. But for the most part, it's just the main storyline that they are going to cover here. One thing they do really good with, though, in terms of like the optional stuff from the game, is the dialogue. There's always, with your dialogue options, typically 1 or 2 dialogue options that make a lot of sense and are sort of the tame choices, even if they're not necessarily like the most positive responses to the characters. They're still like relatively normal responses, and then you'll have one that's just wacky or a little extreme. Every once in a while they'll throw one of those in there, and it's hilarious because they're usually just out of the blue and make no sense with the context, or they make sense but they're just so unexpected that it throws you off. But they're definitely good for a laugh, and I really appreciate the fact that they included those. The cast here, for the dub at least, is pretty much the same. There's a couple people that are a little bit different. Chie's voice actress from the game did not return for this, but I think the voice actress who did the anime version also did Persona 4 Golden, which is on the PSP. So I'm pretty sure that's the case. I'm not positive on that. She's the only one that sounds a little bit different, and it's definitely noticeable after you've played the game and gotten used to hearing her as one voice actress. It's not anything major. She still does a really good job with it and all that. It's just a little weird and disorienting at first. But everyone else does a really good job, as is only to be expected because they played these characters for, a whole game's worth there before. So to reprise the roles in the anime is not anything too huge. The bonus episode, though, is a little bit strange in the sense that it's sort of seems like a bit of an afterthought or something they tacked on very late in the production of this, because the second to last episode wraps everything up just fine. You get your concrete ending and all that, and then suddenly there's this extra episode where things sort of backpedal to the same point you were at before that second to last episode, and it's basically like an alternate ending in this version, and it's really weird the way that they handle it. That last episode is a lot less action-packed than I would have hoped for. It's sort of got this mysterious angle to it and all that that it didn't have in the game adaptation, so I'm curious as to why that one was such an episode they took more creative liberties with than any other episode in the series. There's only one other one that I can think of that does something similar to that, where it is really clunky and sort of just jumps to something real quick without giving you any warning. And I thought my DVD had skipped when it happened, so I rewind and then thought my DVD was corrupted or something like that. Turns out it's just the episode is really just sudden and doesn't give you any sort of warning as to what's going on, which is kind of odd considering that it didn't happen in the game. Anything close to that. But this final episode feels off. It just, the whole style of it, the whole look and feel, not the look, but the feel, the atmosphere of the episode just feels really weird compared to the rest. So while I'm glad that they went ahead and put in the true ending of the game in the anime, it's just not as good as the rest of the episodes in terms of the way they handle it and all that. It doesn't feel as smooth, doesn't feel as natural with the whole story progression and all that. So it's a cool little addition there, I guess, but nothing super impressive to write home about. So with all that in mind, I really enjoyed this anime adaptation. I think it does well considering how much it has to throw on the plate there. Is it perfect? No. There's a lot of things that I would have liked to have seen in this anime adaptation, and truth be told, they could have extended this for twice as long if they wanted to. Would have given more time to really explore the characters. Because while they do a good job of incorporating someone like Naoto earlier on in the anime, as opposed to very late when that character shows up in the game, it's still only 26 episodes, right? You've got all these main characters, plus all the side characters, a bunch of just guest characters and weirdos around town that show up once in a while. It's a lot to juggle for this anime. So while I applaud it for trying really hard for this 26 episode run, it's just not up to snuff compared to some other anime adaptations. That said, it's still really good for what it is. So, if you want to have a quick refresher course on all the events of Persona 4 without going through the game, or you played the game and you're like, hey, I want to see how the anime adaptation is handled. It's fun. It's a good watch. I enjoyed it. Just don't expect anything absolutely mind-blowing. So with that in mind, I will see you guys next time.